Do you have everything ready to go? Are you ready to take your pants off?
So I'm ready to record our OnlyFans video. I mean YouTube video. JK, we don't have an OnlyFans. We don't even have a Patreon, which we should change that. But anyway. Hi, I'm Andy.
And I'm Rich.
And welcome back to Get Gaming, the channel by two gamers with a Y for
gamers with or without a Y.
That's exactly right. And today we have another monthly math video for you. This time we're doing the month of April. It's still May, and I'm not going to swear that this is going to go up in May. I know it's going to go up in May.
Don't give me that look.
So we're finally caught up
good.
on all this. So if you've seen some of our videos before this that kind of got posted throughout the last week and a half or so, go check those out in the playlist here if you want to get caught up on what we've been doing so far this year. It's been a lot of gaming, and we have some very special and exciting new videos coming soon. So as always, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything.
You don't want to miss anything. Go subscribe, you fools.
So, April was a productive month in some ways. So, let's get right into the stats. So, in the month of April, we had 52 in-person plays, 29 of which were unique games, and 13 of which were new to either me or Rich. We had 8 game days, and we played with 9 different people. A little bit down from March, at least as far as the number of people. But
well, April's a short month.
But we're up in number of plays. We almost got to breaking 60 again, but we've been averaging 50 a month, which I think is a very robust number for content creators. So most of the people that we played game days with were either Jamila or John. So if Jamila came over and played games with us, I called it a game day.
Sure.
Because often we played more than one game, so...
I mean, we like to play games at 3. It's a good number for a lot of games.
Mm-hmm. Game nights, I guess those would be, whatever. We've been playing a lot with John. He's been introducing to us a lot of new games, but some of the new games were ones we introduced to him. Or he hasn't played a couple of them yet. We did play Brew with him, which was one of the new to us games in this month. Can't remember what the other ones were at the moment, but let's just go chronologically through it, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, on the very first of the month, April Fools. There were no April Fools because we don't believe in that nonsense. We played Smartphone Inc. We played it with Jamila. So we're continuing to proselytize that very amazing game, which I think everyone should know.
So worth the money because you're just going to love the setup and feel of
I realize it's what I wish and what I think most people wish Monopoly actually was. I mean, an economic game that's accessible and easy to get in and out of in an hour.
It's probably underrated. I think so.
I think so. I think the follow-up to that, I think it's called Mobile Markets, is a card game version of that. And there is an expansion for Smartphone Inc. It's called like Upgrade 3.1 or something like that.
Okay.
But I know the follow-up game that the same publisher did, Furnace, which was very all the hotness last year. So I think that may have overshadowed this particular offering a little bit. But I mean, it's known. Other people talk about it, It's not
available, and that's the most important part.
It's, less than $50. So
it was like 30, I think, or something.
I think we got it for 35 or something. I think MSRP is like 40 from what I was seeing. So yeah, great game that we will be continuing to play. I'm glad that it's getting into the rotation because it had been a year since we played it the first time, between the second time we played it.
Yeah, I'll play it.
And now we played it with like 4 other people already, so it's a really good game. A very streamlined and just satisfying. I like economic games. I think they're fun.
It's very purposeful and meaningful. I like how it goes through the rounds. It's like the play follows a...
very user-friendly.
Yeah, it's just...
right there on the board.
It doesn't feel loosey-goosey at all. It feels like everything you're
very
doing
tight.
is very tight.
But
very
not punishing type of tight. It's a fun little engine building game. There's a big area control element to it, but it's not quite point salad. It's it all kind of synergizes together.
I think it's a great game. I really do.
I agree. And then the game we played the most in April at 4 plays was Silver and Gold.
That one's good to pull out any time.
Yeah, we introduced it to like 4 different people. So that was a game that John had introduced to us that is now like our go-to flipping right. But he's been helping us really expand that repertoire, which I'm very grateful for. So thank you, John.
Definitely one of the best ones that he did introduce us to that wasn't one of his games.
It's just so breezy, Phil Walker Harding, praise be. It's just when I just want to do something quick and do some polynomials and just, wham bam it. That's a great wham bam, thank you ma'am game.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
it is. I like games that, little box, so you don't have to put.
I know. We did take it on. One of the things that we did this month that was very fun is we went to San Francisco to go see my favorite band, Dragonettes. We love you, Martina. And we played a good amount of games on the train. We took the train there. So we played Silver and Gold twice on that trip. We played Dragonheart at least once or twice.
Yeah.
And then we got into Tides and a Tussie Mussy and a Stew. So there was a good amount of Button Shy. Again, the go-to travel game. Gotta love Button Shy.
It is a good travel game. Yeah, excellent.
That is a very scenic ride because basically it's like open water for half the trip. So
it's gorgeous.
Very
it's so pretty and it's so relaxing. You don't have to deal with having a car in the city.
We kind of just hung out on the lunch cart the whole time. And
that was fun.
We're nursing that one Bloody Mary between us to justify our existence there.
Yeah. In any case, just kind of plug that. Poor Amtrak doesn't get enough love. Go Amtrak.
Then we also played King Domino.
I slay at King Domino.
And then, talking about proselytizing, finally got a copy of 6 Nimmt. So it's not just an online game anymore. I've been bringing it to game day, and we've introduced it to a couple of different people, including Rich. It was one of the games he played for the first time in the month of April. What do you think of Not 6, which is the German
Take
title?
5 is what it's called on.
I like Not 6. Oh no! That's literally what it means in German. So.
Well, card games are among my favorite. And
it's card slapping fun.
Games like this that use numbers, it's really easy because you're just trying to look at where a field of cards is, realizing you don't want to be the 6th card in that row, and then you're looking at your hand and trying to get...
Because you don't want to take the row, because if you place the 6th card, you'll have to take the whole row, and it's a game where you want to have the least number of points.
Right. So I like games like this because it's pretty much... You just look at your hand and you look at there, and if you're going to get screwed, you're going to get screwed.
It's true.
But it's fun. It's like the card games of old. You can still be really social.
It's completely push your luck, which is what I like about it as a party filler game, is that there's no way for people to be hyper competitive in that game because it's literally, there is a strategy to it, but there's no way to really mess with other people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what it's kind of like. Lady Fortuna is the great equalizer. And I think that game is a good example of that dickdom.
Whose dick is dumb?
Speaking of John.
Oh!
I feel very attacked!
Relax.
He just came back from Gamma, and he was pitching a lot, so go, John, go, John. Other of his games were getting attention at Gamma, so we are always rooting for our Johnny boy.
John Wood is the best.
Also, speaking of John, we played Rajas of the Ganges with one of the Goodie Box expansions. We played with the Mango Village, which I quite liked. It just adds like an extra building space and juicy extra tiles.
I didn't get one of those.
I got a whole bunch.
But I won. I think John did.
John won, of course. Yes. He kills at that game. It's really fun. I'm glad. Obviously, that's Rich's favorite game.
It's one of my favorite games.
Well, we'll see when we make that new top 11
list. God, it's going to be hard. There's a few games that are certainly in the running for that.
And we played it twice this month, because then we also played it just me and you with the Shalimar expansion, which again just adds some new like crossroad tiles that just kind of, help you connect things more easily. They're really easy to integrate into the game. So also in that goodie box that we have yet to try, there's Jewelers and the Test of Fate. Those ones I think are a little more finicky to understand, but we're working our way through that goodie box because there's also a goodie box 2, which has even more mini expansions.
You didn't
in
get
it.
that one though?
Not yet. Well, there's plenty to work through in goodie box 1. We have time, so I like that they're really easy and quick to integrate mini expansions. You know, they just kind of expand and give you slightly more options to what you're doing, but they don't like really radically change the game.
Yeah,
in any way,
yeah,
you know?
that part's good.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Certainly not broke.
And John introduced us to one of his favorite games of all time, which is a Reiner Knizia game called High Society. So this is the one with like the Art Nouveau and all like the fancy people.
He was I there? Are you sure?
You were there. You played it. You played this game. So it's a card game, these big cards with these rich people on it, and you're trying to spend the least money, and it's a bidding game. And you're bidding on these point cards, but if you get to the end and you have spent the most money, you just automatically lose.
I don't remember this game at all.
Don't you remember the art with the Art Nouveau people?
Bring it up. I don't see it. Seeing is believing. I don't think that I played this game with you guys. Because I would know. I like the cover art. Okay. Nope. Did not play that. No, that's like Alphonse Mucha.
Yes, you played it. John, get in the comments and remind this that he played this game.
I didn't. I would recognize these cards. I'm very fond of Alphonse Muchas. Yeah, I don't recall it at all. Could it be that you're mistaken?
No.
Could it be that I have...
You played it. You need at least 3 people to play the game, and you were the third person.
Oh my god.
Because we played it the same night we played Rajas of the Ganges. Remember he pulled it out? It was a card game.
I don't remember him pulling it out.
Anyway, if you like bidding games, great bidding game. That's all I really have to say about it because he can't even remember what had happened yesterday.
Well, that is not true. I remember what happened yesterday.
Well, in your defense, it was like a month ago. And
that
then
is a long time.
One of the games we dusted off again and introduced to a new person was Verdant. One of my favorite solo games, but also a very good multiplayer experience. You know, even though it is very multiplayer solitaire. So we played it. I played it with you. Then I played it solo, and then we played it with Jamila. Because we're trying to do a comparison thing for Planted, which I think Jamila's going to be a part of that because she really enjoys Planted. That's just John. And Verdant, you know, the vibe, the feeling that game gives me, it's just nice. I think you're the one that said the game, it just feels nice when you play it. Yeah, it's just a relaxing game.
It's a relaxing game.
But hard to do well at. Yeah, I know you two are really struggling. Well, I don't know that you were struggling, but I really wow.
Yeah, well...
Obviously. No, that's not the one I did really well at. Sorry, I lost that game. Jamila won that game by a safe margin. That's what I recall. Okay, I have the answers here to this question, because I'm like, I know I can't remember, which is very strange.
It's this memory issue is highly contagious.
You won!
Praise be.
I was in second place and Jamila was in third. That's what it was. But it was only like a less than 10-point difference between all of us. Because you had 81, I had 78, and she had 72. Okay, I was like, oh, I'm thinking of something else.
Get Verdant. It's the best plant game with plants. And you have to take care of them or they die. Wither and die.
And I talked about the games we played on our trip. We got in some of the Castles of Burgundy. We played it twice this month. So that's staying in a steady rotation. Mm-hmm. You like that game?
Again, it's similar to what we were talking about with smartphoning. I like carefully orchestrated play. Like, it's not,
streamlined play.
Streamlined play, yeah.
Because Castles of Burgundy really isn't that complex, what you're doing on your turn. You're just rolling the dice, you're going shopping, and you're building, and that's the game, pretty much.
It's very well-defined.
It's all memorizing what all the different tiles do and how they interact and building your engine and figuring out how to use the only 2 actions you generally have on a turn and how to finagle things to be able to do those combos. That's the hard part about that game. But yeah, it's just a satisfying game and I love it to tears and I want to cry knowing how much that you love it too because I love that you love what I love. And that's why I love you.
Okay.
Then we finally got Fast Sloths to the table again this month.
Yeah.
For game
that's a good
day,
one.
we played it with John, and we haven't played it with Jamila again yet, have we? We promised Jamila we're gonna get it to you again. It's gonna happen.
It's just fun. I like that one.
A pick up and deliver game. You're a lazy sloth who, instead of you moving around to get the leaves, you're basically hitchhiking on all these animals, and they're taking you around this board to go get the leaves. It has very interesting card play because the more leaves you eat, the smaller your hand becomes and the more you have to discard. So the more successful you are, the more it attempts to slow you down. But John won quite handily at that game. Are you sure? You won. Oh, because you guys were about to be tied, but then what happened? I didn't.
I think there are some elements of, I wouldn't call it chance. It's just the way finishing it up. I had an easier task to win.
You picked a smart
close.
path,
Yeah.
and he was saying the strategy. So this is
I
a
think
Friedman
it's
Freeze game, by the way, which John really likes Friedman Frieza.
Friedman Frieza haters can go suck it.
But it's just a delightful game. It's just lighthearted and fun and easy. One of his family weight games.
It's it's a big table game.
It's a huge board. Modular board, though.
It is modular, and I really do like it. Like we said, you kind of have to go in a circular fashion around the board to go to all.
You got to decide what your path is going to be for the entire game at the beginning, because all the leaves are at the edges of the board, and depending on which animals start where also determines a lot of the strategy. So you can place the animals kind of semi-randomly, but they can only go over certain types of terrain, right? So in the rule book for the starter scenario, it shows you where to put the animals, but technically you can mix it up and you can kind of spread your animals out in a different way to vary up that strategy of which path is the smartest path.
Even which animals, you don't have, you don't...
Yeah, there's two different sets of animals, so I think there's about 10 or 12 or so. So you either play with, I think it's 6 or 6. And it tells you which animals you shouldn't mix together, but technically you can mix them up however you want. Just some of them have powers that, you want to make sure you always have certain types of animals. Like you always want an animal that's able to move for water.
Right.
Because of the bridges. And things like that. So just to balance the...
But it has a lot of replayability because
it does.
How you can change it up.
Yeah, I agree. That's a game I really want to
The other thing I would say about this game is, obviously we've been playing a lot of games that are, the more point salad-y kind. And this is just a race. And I do love
whoever gets all those leaves first.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know why. It makes it...
It's exciting.
It does. It adds that excitement that some of the other games
It's the
lacking.
same reason I think we like co-op games, because we like games with a goal.
Yeah.
Because what's the goal of the game? To get the most points. It's like...
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I know.
Not always. I love those point salad games, but sometimes you want something that's like a different type of goal than just
because a lot of those point salad games, you don't even know if you're winning or losing. It's
true.
Or who's winning, who's losing. You don't know.
So it makes it easier to come up from behind. Whereas in this game, if you start getting behind and someone gets way ahead, it can be hard to catch up.
That's true.
That's true. Which is why I think it has the mechanic of trying to limit them in the cards as they go through the race.
I think it's
to
really
balance it
well
out.
designed that way.
I think it is a fairly balanced game.
Yeah, it feels balanced.
Yeah, so then I also played Odin's Ravens with John, which is a game I'd only ever played with you. So it was interesting playing it with someone that was not you, because I actually had a chance of winning. You almost always win at that game. I'm pretty sure. So we played it the first time, and then I think I hadn't made a certain rule clear to John. John chimed in about what it was, because I can't quite remember it. But it was something that had to do with the low-key cards, I think. Or, it was the movement. Because, in Odin's Ravens, when you have the same type of terrain together, you can just skip over it. Yeah, he didn't realize that until halfway through the game. So then we started over, and I don't know. I can't remember. Well, it doesn't matter who won. He enjoyed it. He said it was a nice, light race game. So I saw why we liked it.
Artistically, it's one of my favorites.
Beautiful art.
It's compact. It's the one you could pull out. The only thing is that you do have like 16 cards.
It takes up a bit of more space than you think
Yeah.
it's going to. And he was like saying, how many do I have to do? 16? It's like, God damn, how long does it have to be, you know? So it was just interesting playing it with someone else and getting a fresh set of eyes on it. It was...
You know, that would be a great game. Who's the designer? Do you remember?
Thorsten Gimler, who also is the designer of No Thanks.
Oh. Well, I mean, I could see that one would be good to do if it had some different configurations. That
the first version of the game does have extra mechanics and a whole extra deck of cards, and there's like different stuff. So we have the second edition, which is streamlined too. It's just the race element, and you have the Loki cards. You don't have the whole thing with Odin and his magic spells that you do in the original version. So I don't know. I think it might be worth it to try the original edition at some point because it plays a bit differently from my understanding.
Yeah, it would be fun.
It's a little crunchier.
And we like that game.
So speaking of John, how many times are we going to say speaking of John?
We love you, John.
So John introduced us to a game called Steam Park, which I had heard of. Don't think many people have been talking about it. It's a little older. I think it's like from 2014.
Yeah.
So it's like a theme park theme. It's a little engine building game. You have meeples. You're trying to get on the rides. And you have this kind of, you can expand your park and you're trying to build the roller coasters. But what's interesting about it, it has this real-time element of you're trying to roll dice. It's custom dice.
Oh my god.
And the icons, and icons are the actions. And so whatever dice you end up with are the actions you're going to be able to do for that turn. But the first person to lock in their dice is able to take this, there's like first, second, third, and these fourth place tiles, which either help you or hinder you. They either give you, like if you're the first one to lock in your dice, you get special bonuses. If you're the last one to lock in, you have to like take on more dirt, which is like negative points at the end of the game. So it's like, there's this kind of frenetic rush to do all the actions, and then we're multiplayer solitaire. But it's engine building, so I enjoyed it. You didn't enjoy it as much.
Didn't care for it. I didn't really like the dice rolling element of it that much. Yeah. But also, there were just some little things about the production.
So it's like these 3D components you're building, like the roller coasters and the buildings and stuff, but they're like, yeah, they don't hold together very well.
They don't hold together very well. You're supposed to put the meeples on top of like the roller coasters, and they keep falling off.
I mean, I didn't have an issue with that, but I could see that being a fiddly aspect, and I think John was even saying, "Oh, I should probably glue these things together," because they are.
I think the other thing is that
I like the look and idea of it. But...
Well, I was expecting to have like more fun designing a roller coaster.
I know. I want that roller coaster tycoon vibe, man.
I do too.
Are you the bitch?
It didn't quite do it for me.
Because even you're expanding your park, but there's these rules about placement. You can't have buildings right next to each other. So you just have these things kind of spread out, which is fine from a game perspective, I understand. But I didn't get to the end and feel like I'd really built like this huge, cool park, you know?
No.
It felt like I basically spent the whole game working on one roller coaster just to get those points. And, you know, you're trying to get the meeples onto the ride, and that is the way that you get points in that game.
That's what I didn't really like about it is the placement rules in the park and how, I mean...
Yeah, I kind of get it.
It's kind of limiting, I felt, in a way that I didn't really
I think it incentivizes you to get those expansion boards to expand the park out so that, you know, as you go through the rounds, but there's only 6 rounds, it's pretty tight. So you don't really have a lot of time to do all that building, you know? So I appreciate that it is a tighter game and what it was trying to do, but, you know, I don't think we really liked it as much as John probably likes it. Sorry. But I'd play it again with him, you know.
I'd play it again.
I liked it okay. It's one of those games I thought there was some interesting ideas. It was still an enjoyable session. I still enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, I mean, in like a 5-star system, it's still probably a 3 for me.
I feel very attacked!
Relax.
I'd probably give it a 4, maybe 3.5. It depends. I'd have to play it again to really decide. I really enjoyed the engine building aspect of it. I thought if you're someone that really likes optimization and trying to figure out the most optimal turns, that could be fun. And that
That's
element,
probably why John likes it. He's very good
and
at that.
I know you didn't like the dice rolling, but I did like that real-time element with the dice rolling. I did think that was fun, but it didn't quite gel with the rest of the game being so much multiplayer solitaire, you know? So it felt a little disjointed to me.
A little disjointed, yeah.
But I thought the way that the engine building worked with the little side buildings that give you the special bonuses was really clever. I feel the same way, though. I want to build more roller coasters. I want to build a haunted house. I want to do more stuff. I want a pimped out ride.
Doing 120, getting hit while I'm swerving.
You know, like, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, if you're going to give me a theme park theme, I need that. You know, I need that real circus vibe going on. You know what I mean?
I would have liked it to have had tiles or something where you could kind of make loops in the roller coaster. You could do a spiral or maybe a, you know...
Well, that's basically a roller coaster tycoon. I know Zoo Tycoon is now a board game that they've made, so I'm kind of hoping if that's successful enough, they'll make a roller coaster tycoon one maybe, get that IP, get that license, And John was talking to me about another theme park game I've heard that's really good is Unfair and Funfair, the follow-up. That game is more mean because you're kind of messing with each other and trying to sabotage each other's parks. But it has more of that I'm actually building a theme park kind of theme. And there's several other theme park themed games out there. So, like, you know, I want to try more of them and then kind of compare and see how this one would fit into that. I thought the art and the aesthetic was interesting. It had some interesting mechanics. So it's one I'd play again. And then we taught John First Rat.
Yeah.
His new favorite game of the year, he said. You know, maybe not ever, but he was really into it. Which, yeah, that's a great game. It's not just us. It's nice getting validation from someone that has, you know, been literally as a game designer.
Just so
about a
good. It's another game that is just, I don't know, some designers seem to be able to have all this intricacy in the game and it all works.
There's a very synergized
doesn't
game.
feel, the synergy is probably about the best. I would almost say, I'm sorry, maybe First Rat could possibly edge out Raja's.
Really?
Yeah, it
Well, we
could.
need to play it more for sure because I still haven't won, and I want to try the solo mode and see if that helps me kind of figure out the optimal strategy a little bit better because I feel like I take too long. Like I have this really great plan of what I'm gonna do, but there is a race element to that game.
Yes.
And so it's hard for me. I feel like I don't have enough time to do the things I want to do before everyone else just starts grabbing stuff like crazy.
It's not your fault. He's a Capricorn. Sorry.
It's true.
It's like a little slow getting going.
It's true. It's true.
They're slow starters.
But I still really love the game. I think it's really great. I think it would be a really good fit, not just for, you know, regular gamers, but also family gamers that have kids or that are beyond, like maybe like Draftosaurus and King Domino, but you want to do something that's a little meatier with them, like, you know, 8 and 10-year-olds. I think could totally play that
At least
game.
for sure a 10-year-old.
10-year-old, for sure.
Well,
It might be
it depends, you know,
There's some reading involved.
Depend on the kid, you know. They would have to be a little bit more sophisticated, a little more
I would
mature.
say.
But definitely
maybe 10.
some kids could do it.
Yeah, I think for sure. And it's just so cute. I mean, you're trying to get to the cheese moon. You know, you're making a rocket ship out of tin cans, and you got your little calculators and stuff.
Yeah,
it's so adorable.
and like vinegar and
baking soda.
Yeah,
that's
how
your
you're
rocket
gonna get
fuel.
Yes, yes.
It's so cute, but it's a game that doesn't rely on its cute theme. Like, it's also a really great game on top of that. So I think some people maybe saw the cute theme and sort of wrote off the rest of it, because it's not like the most groundbreaking Euro game in the world. I think the most clever thing about it is probably the way that the rats move.
That's real clever, and I love the light string. It would not be nearly as good a game if you didn't have that light string.
Well, it's really the game is just you're bumping a bunch of tracks.
Yep.
And building little engines here and there. So
shortcuts. It's got everything. Honestly, it has a lot of bells and whistles to it, and that makes it fun.
And it plays up to 5.
That's another good
We
thing.
haven't played it at 5 yet. I don't think we've even played it at 4 yet, but I've heard it gets really tight, and that race element becomes even more intense the more players you
And
have.
there's races within races in this game.
It's true.
Too. It's not just one.
You're all
race.
competing for those tracks, so if you like a lot of player interaction, it's definitely the game for you.
It's high.
If you're like me and you're kind of more of a low interaction kind of person, maybe it's not the game for you. That's kind of how I feel, but I still really like it.
I do too.
And then also, another new to us game this month, we finally played Gingerbread House, another Phil Walker Hardy, praise be.
I liked that game. I thought, you know what? I haven't found any Phil Walker Harding games that I haven't liked so far, I don't think.
I played one I didn't care for, and I played one that was very underwhelming. All the rest have been solid in my mind.
Yeah, well, Gingerbread House is definitely solid.
I really
and
liked
it's
it.
fun. It's a fun game.
So, if you've never played Gingerbread House, it's a little tile placement game, and, well, you're the witch, and all these fairy tale characters are coming around trying to eat your frickin' house. Bums.
Better not put that in your mouth, kid.
What?
The gingerbread. Don't put the...
No, you want them to eat the gingerbread. So you're trying to lure the fairy tale characters into your house so you can eat them, basically. And you're doing it through this
true.
3D tile placement kind of engine thing that you're trying to create. And it's like a 3x3. Yeah, it's kind of abstract looking tiles, but then there's all this like fairy tale character art, and you have like this, you're trying to collect the cards and lure them in, and if you manage to successfully eat them, it doesn't say that you're eating them,
but you know you are.
I'm pretty sure it's implied that we're eating the fairy tale characters. So this is what I've heard is like most...
Who did you think was tastiest?
Alice. She gave me like 7 of those. I had to pay 7 blue things for that, but she gave me a lot of scoring that I was able to win. Was that Alice chick? So, yeah, it's a fun little.
So we've just played it the once, right?
We only played it once. We played it at Great Escape. We played the demo copy, but then you liked it enough to go.
That might be for some. No, don't say.
I'm gonna buy my own copy.
Well, you probably should.
Anyway, speaking of games that were new to us that are really amazing and are very underrated, I finally got the chance to play Mariposas by Elizabeth Hargrave. And I liked it so much, I literally bought the copy off the person who taught it to me. Because she was selling it. Or she was selling another copy because she got a new copy. So she was selling her old copy. And I said, yeah, I'm going to buy that off you right now. I liked it so much. And then I played it with you the next day. And we played it like 4 times since then.
Yeah, Mariposas, 2 thumbs. Well, 4 thumbs, because he would give it 2 thumbs. So 4 thumbs. Way up.
4 butterfly wings.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that being
Great
the follow-up to Wingspan, and Wingspan was just such a huge sensation, that I think that game really hasn't gotten its due. And I think a lot of people just kind of underwhelmed it, or thought it was too simple, or like it wasn't as good as Wingspan. I think it's apples and oranges, because it's not like Wingspan at all, mechanically.
It doesn't have as tight a decision space as some other games, and possibly that's maybe where that is coming from. But you can't do everything in this game.
Yes, that's the thing I was going to say. I think it is a tighter decision space because you can't... So the way that the game works is that you're using these action cards to move your butterfly tokens up from Mexico along this kind of hex grid, asymmetric grid, all the way up to Canada and back. So you get points at the end of the game, among other things, for however many butterflies you got back to Mexico. But there's multiple other ways to get points throughout the game. And it's very, very, not impossible, because I did manage to do it, but very, very hard to get all the way to Canada and back.
You might be able to do it with...
one butterfly.
Yeah, one. You're not going to be able to do that
But as you're going through the game, you're basically breeding, you're multiplying your butterfly tokens as you go through. And there's these variable scoring cards that are revealed as you go through the 3 rounds that really change up the strategy from play to play. So every time we played through it, I've tried something different strategy-wise.
Me too, and I can't even imagine why people wouldn't love this game.
Because there's this other board that has... How does it work with that other board and the other tokens?
What other board?
So there's...
What other board?
There's these way station hexes. You have these way station cards you can collect along the way, which also give you points. And if you collect all of one color of these sort of, they really should have been tokens, but they're these way station cards. And if you have all 4 of a color, you get a special bonus tile ability.
Oh, this board. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, this is the board I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So you have these cards, stacks of cards here, and each player can only collect one of them. And when you get all 4, you have these other variable tiles that give you, like, this counts as an extra butterfly at the end of the game, or this is some ongoing ability, or this is just, bonuses. They're mostly bonuses and stuff.
I mean, honestly, this.
So you don't have to get butterflies to Mexico if you collect enough of those way station cards. So that's the other kind of main strategy you can do in the game. Also, each season scoring cards have like things that you can score for in that particular season, which also have additional ways that you can pick up points.
But the game plays pretty fast. That's the other thing.
Like an hour game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that
even if when we played it at 3, it was
still pretty quick.
Pretty quick, yeah.
So that's one of the things I really like about it. I mean, honestly, some games can drag on a little too long. This one doesn't make you feel that way.
And again, talking about streamlined games, I thought everything mechanically in the game synergizes together and needs to be there. My only complaint is I think that these cards should have been tokens instead of because that's the biggest part of the setup is setting this board up. Yeah. Which is just a little annoying, but that's my only real complaint on the production side and component side of things. But I just really think this is an amazing game, and it's one of our new favorites.
Totally. This is another one that's in the running for one of my favorite games.
I absolutely love it. It's just it puts you in that crunchy decision space, I think. But I think for some people, I don't know, a lot of what I've heard is like, oh, well, it's too simple, or, oh, that whole thing with the action cards, it's like there's not enough different kinds of actions that you can do. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I really think it's a game that has a very tight economy, and the choices that you make really matter a lot, and it does force you to have to maybe make decisions you don't want to make. This is not really a game that you can plan out your entire strategy from the beginning. You have to be able to pivot in this game and deal with disappointment. Pivot! Then I taught Creature Comforts, and I played it at 5 again. Do not recommend that game at 5. And I finally realized what the issue is.
Oh.
Some people do not have, as I was telling you, good permutational thinking. So, the thing that we said before, that game, very multiplayer solitaire, but I think it can be a very snappy game if people are good at what I call permutational thinking, which is being able to look at those 4 dice that you just rolled, and in your head, being able to figure out every possible combination you can use when applying them. Because in that game, which we've talked about it before quite a bit, but basically in that game, you put your workers out first before you roll the 4 white dice, which everyone is going to be able to use. And that happens after you've rolled your own 2 dice. So you know what your first 2 dice are before you place all your workers and decide what your possible actions are going to be. But then when you roll the 4 white dice, you have to then be able to permutate every combination of those 4 white dice and your 2 dice. Mm-hmm. So if you're not good at that type of thing, that's what I think takes longer for some people in that game. Causes the AP.
Yeah, the AP can be kind of
which I don't think is a fault of the game itself, but because the placement of workers is simultaneous, that goes really quick. It's just that then everyone taking their turn, that can take longer. Especially at 5. At 3, I didn't feel it was too bad. I think 3 and 2 is okay. Let's play it at 4 again sometime, and then see where we're at with people that have already played the game. And I want to see if it quickens up. If it's just an issue of
or if it's dragging.
Yeah, is it then an issue not okay? What are my combinations? Is it more an issue of I could do this worker here, but what if I don't do that worker there and I get a plus or minus instead? But I think it gets quicker the more familiar you get with the game. And just every time I played that game, we played with someone new. Every time we probably
need to revisit that game a few times with just...
with like John or Jamila, Ruthie's played it. Yeah, I want to try it again with some, shall we say, creature comfort, acolytes. And then see if it goes, because I really think it should be an hour-and-a-half game and not like a 3-hour ordeal. Then I also tried, this was a game day you weren't at when I went to CJ's. I played Evolution the beginning. So I sold my copy of Evolution, as I don't know if I've talked about that on the channel. Have we ever talked about Evolution on this channel?
I'm pretty sure we did.
We didn't care for it when we first learned it, but we were newer to the hobby, and we just kind of were like, is this it? So then I played Evolution in the beginning. That is it. But Evolution in the beginning at least is quick, is the best thing I can say about it. Obviously, I didn't win, but, it was fast, and, it really is just about you trying to get your carnivores to eat other animals. But at least I kind of understood the bag building element a little bit more with the points, I guess, and how you're trying to get the right traits for your animals, and kind of it's offense, defense, kind of back and forth. But it's a very cutthroat game. It's just very high player interaction. You just have to not even take that kind of thing personally when someone attacks your animals. It's just
not
it is what it is.
Game,
I don't think it's my kind of game either, really. I think if you're trying to get to Evolution and see what it's about, I think the beginning is a good way to just get in and out of it very quickly without needing to commit a lot. The base Evolution, I think, is too long for what it is. And also just kind of dry.
It was very dry.
I love the art. I love the idea, but I don't really feel like I'm evolving my animals. You know what I mean?
No,
it feels like a card battler almost.
Actually,
Which
that
is what I think people like
reminds
about
me
it.
a little of another game that
Talk about those towards the end of the month.
So I have sort of the same qualms about Evolution that I had about Brew.
So
it's not as tightly cohesive, or whatever you said. The synergy is kind of lacking. I felt that in Evolution when we were playing it. Just
I
sort
mean,
of so what?
it kind of boils down to, okay, I'm feeding. My herbivores can only feed from the pool, or my carnivores can eat the herbivores. Okay, I'm trying to get enough traits for my animals to either have them be able to eat as the herbivores or to not get attacked by the other people on their turn. And that's it.
It's really kind of interesting because it makes me wonder if, how many scientists would actually see evolution as being that.
Well, the thing is, there's
pared
only,
down.
at least in the beginning, there's only 6 different traits you can have.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like I'm creating a really unique creature. It's just we're all adding the same traits to our animals.
And, we all want to eat.
Yeah, that's right. That's basically what it comes down to. Then I also bought another game off of CJ that night called Gizmos, another Phil Walker Harding, which I quite enjoy Gizmos because it's engine building and nothing but the engine building. Marbles.
Oh, the marble one. Yeah. That one had that's an interesting twist.
You said it was too abstract for you.
It was a little abstract.
It is a little abstract, but when I want just engine building and nothing but the engine building, and those marbles are so tactile.
I think I gotta play it again. I remember it, but I don't really remember the joy of playing it.
I wanna play it again because I really like that game, and I don't know. I think sometimes your first impressions can be a little meh if it's not really singing for you,
like Mariposas. That one, it's certain.
You were
games
halfway through the game, you were like, "Ooh, this is fun." You were instant love.
Yeah,
which I felt the same way about that game. Which I tend to have.
It's my love style.
Well, your love style is gift giving and words of affirmation.
Yes, but I like you wanna fall in love, right? Mm-hmm. You just want it to be quick, and you want it to be hit you over the head.
When you know,
stars. Yeah,
like the day we met.
That's right.
You fell in love with me.
And some games don't give you that. And some games do. And remember, kids, love is love. Oh, I'm proselytizing now.
You are. When you know, you know. And I'm generally, my love language, by the way, is also words of affirmation, but also physical touch. So that's why we're so PDA. Then we also played the Downfall of Pompeii, because the day after that game night at CJ's, we had the swap meet, another swap meet at Great Escape. So if you didn't see our previous swap meet video for Great Escape, here's a link. We didn't film for this one because it was kind of, oh, let's go before they close, because we got there at 1:30.
We were a little bit on the late side.
Yeah, a half hour before it was over.
There were still a ton of people there, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there were a lot of people.
So we got Fantasy Realms.
Packing up.
And the Downfall of Pompeii. Very good deal on both of those. And At the Gates of Loyang, which is right behind me. Okay, there you go. There's your hall. Which we still have to play At the Gates of Loyang. It's a little heavier, so I'm going to have to learn it before I teach it to Rich. But we did play the Downfall of Pompeii the day after we got it. And what did you think of that game?
It's one of those, it reminds me of like old-fashioned games, like the Parker Brothers games and all that stuff. It's
Pretty straightforward.
It's straightforward, but it's really fun. There's just enough picking off.
So in the game, we're in Pompeii. Picture it. Timeshare villa down by the beach. So you're moving all your little meeple guys in the first half of the game. It's like with these cards. And then the second half of the game, the volcano explodes. And then the rest of the game is you're putting out these magma tiles and you're trying to, the person who gets the most people out of the city before they're eaten by magma wins. And then the person with the least people who were thrown in the volcano by those omen cards in the first half of the game, is the winner. So that's like the tiebreaker, having the least number of people eaten by magma.
It's just fun. That's not a game I would take all that seriously.
Not at all.
But
Not
because
at all.
it's not like, there is little strategy involved in it, but
There is. In the first half of the game.
One time I did really poorly at it.
Yeah, because
most of the times I've done
well, so when we played it with Rufy the other night, we played this at 3 twice because we also played it with Jamila. I realized how many people you get out in the first half of the game really matters. If someone gets more out in the first half than you, when it gets to the magma part, you can't put anyone new out. So, like, for instance, Ruthie had like, who won when we played against Ruthie? You did. Okay, so I only had we had 9 and 9, and then one of my guys went, and I had 8. And so we were both trying to eat, because she had 13 at the start. So we're like, oh my God, how is she not going to win? And so you managed to pull it out of the park by knocking it
out. But
yeah,
so basically, it came down to the tiebreaker between Ruthie and I.
Yeah,
I had fewer in the volcano.
It's always tight in that game. It's always a difference of 1 point. Or it's tied.
And isn't that what makes it fun?
I agree.
It's just like,
it's also a race, right? It's another race game, kind of. Yeah.
But it's laying those lava tiles, and you can be as heartless as you want.
You could be very mean in that game. Yes.
We tend to be we're
softies.
Yeah, we're softies. I don't tend to burn too many people unless I have to. In the game.
That's a little ominous, unless I have to.
Well, if
I don't murder people unless I have to.
I never said I was a role model.
Anyway, it's a good game.
Very good game. I enjoy it.
I wonder what year that's from.
It's from the 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's by the same designer as Carcassonne, so it's an older beige Euro-y kind of game.
I am surprised that Pompeii wasn't, because of obviously you see Carcassonne.
People know about it. It's still in print, which is pretty good.
I would
for
think
a Euro
more
game.
people would want it because it's just light and it's fun. Oh my God, the volcano.
It has a following.
Does it?
I love the little volcano.
I could totally see dressing up in togas and having a whole.
The only reason I know about that game is because Monique and Naveen, they said that was their big gateway game. So it's it has its fans. Speaking of fantasy realms. He didn't like it. I understand why that's a lot of people's go-to filler game. I get it, but there's other card games that are more interesting to me. You're just collecting points. And I know I don't know, maybe at 2 it's not as good. I feel like maybe at multiplayer it would be fun with the hand curation aspect of it. Because basically you're just collecting cards, you're trying to curate a hand that will synergize the most points that you can, and certain cards kind of synergize with each other in different ways. It's kind of interesting, I guess. And then you can take cards from the discard. Once there's 10 cards in the discard, that triggers the end of the game. But, it's kind of generic fantasy, which is also doesn't really get our fire going that much, I think. And it's I thought it'd be a good quick card game, but now I'm thinking there's other quick card games on my radar that I think would fill that niche better for us.
Yeah, maybe we just have to keep looking on that one. I want to play it again, obviously.
With more people.
Yeah, with other people.
Yeah, so the jury's out on that one.
But initial impression wasn't really that.
We got it for, what was it, $8?
I think it was 10.
$10, so I don't regret getting it. I'm glad we were able to try it, but it might be one that ends up getting cold eventually, unfortunately. I don't know. I want to try it with more people though. And last but not least, I've been saving this topic for the end because I know that Rich has a lot of thoughts on it, as do I. We played Brew by Pandasaurus Games, designed by Stefo Torres. Delightful dice placement and potion making game that involves creatures and
fanciful creatures,
energy berries, saber-toothed lemurs.
I don't even know what some of those animals are called.
Oh my god. So this is a game that I think was all the hotness like a year ago or so, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe. You actually surprised me. You said, hey, I got a game at Barnes & Noble off the table. And, you just kind of took a chance.
I loved the flavor text on the box. Did a really great job of explaining the game.
Yeah, some interesting world building. You're supposed to be in some kind of dystopian fantasy thing where time is fluctuating and night and day have no meaning. And, you're trying to channel the energies of the forest and these fantastical creatures. You're brewing potions. It's mostly a dice placement, resource management, and then there's a little bit of card synergy and engine building that you're doing with the creatures. But ultimately, there's a little bit of point salad because the cards you get are points. The creatures can also be points, and there's other ways to get points along the way. And so I quite enjoyed this game. It plays in an hour, which is great. You can get through a whole dice placement, a lot of mechanics that are very Euro-y in a relatively easy and accessible
It's
game.
Definitely Euro light.
Euro light, that's a great way to describe it, actually.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it. I love the art. I really like the sort of way that the gameplay kind of works, and I don't know, it's something that just clicked for me immediately, and it's one of my new favorite games that we played this month. Maybe not a top 10, but it definitely fits, I think, a very good niche for when I want that kind of Euro-y experience in a smaller time frame.
Well, I could see where some people would maybe like this game. I like the art. Especially the animals are really kind of fun to look at. There's aspects of the game that I did like the placement of the dice on the different season cards. I do like that. Not a lover of the potions at all. I don't really feel like there's certain... Okay, so basically my criticism of this game is just that it doesn't feel completely cohesive. I think you said it the best. You said, you don't like how compartmentalized the game is.
Yeah, because I think, in my mind, when I was playing the game successfully, not when we played against John, because my head was elsewhere. I was too busy thinking about how much that we love him, But no, I was just kind of brain dead that day, and he did really well at it. But, I think he had similar criticisms that you did about some aspects of it. A lot of what I've seen online is some of the creature cards are a little overpowered. I politely disagree, but I think a lot of it depends on the particular combo of creatures you get. The winter ones I think are better in general, but some of the other ones help you get more resources. But you don't really need to create a resource gathering engine so much as the area control aspect of being able to claim those
really
season cards matters
aspect.
More, I think, because then also at the end of the game you can release your creatures and put them on the matching season cards that you've claimed, and that gives you more points. Now the potion cards don't really synergize that well with the rest of the game, except that the way that it works when you brew a potion, that's you're paying the resources for the potion card and taking it into your hand. All the potions are points at the end of the game, whether you play them or not.
Well, there were things I wanted to do with the potion cards, but I felt like some of them are way too expensive.
So let me complete what I was going to say, because the potion cards, really you have to think about them as just points. And the abilities on there are a perk that is good if it's really well timed. So some of those powers on the potion cards, you're not building an engine with the potion cards. It's not like that's the card play. They're really just points.
They're kind of take-thatty. It reminds me in Fun City, what are those, the chaos cards? The ones that just, you fall asleep on the bus and you have to get off.
None of the potion cards directly attack other players, though.
They allow you advantages that could be to the detriment of your fellow players.
Sure, because it is so tight. There's only 4 rounds, and I think some of those potion powers, most of them aren't really that powerful.
Oh yeah, they are, and that is how John won, because
He played a lot of them.
he would put one of his die on a card, and then he would get this potion that allows you, or he would use a die. I guess it was more the center one. If you get the flame element. And then it would allow you to scorch the rest of the forest so nobody else.
So you're talking about the scorching of the forest, which comes into the area control element of this game, which is a big part of the game, which is you have sort of the market of where you're gathering the resources on these season cards, like they're forest cards, I think they're called. People, if they don't want you to be able to get the dice on there, so whoever has the most of their dice on a particular card will be able to claim it at the end of the round. And there's also these sort of shared white dice, element dice, that sort of don't count towards that and don't really belong to anybody. But there's this also
you to get resources.
Yeah, and there's this ability to use these scorch tokens to basically say, no, none for anyone else. I'm going to scorch all the rest of this card so no one else can beat me here. So there is that kind of mean element to the game, I think, which you didn't like, because me and John were both doing a ton of scorching. I was just being chaos, to be honest. And then John looks at me like, you're just scorching away for no reason, like just to help me. And I'm like, no, just to be chaos.
This one. Yeah, it's just I don't want to feel played by the game. I want to play the game.
You played it 3 times and you still don't enjoy it.
Yeah, so. I feel like you get played by this game.
Your feelings are valid.
Of course they are.
And I'm sad that you don't enjoy this game as much as I do, but that's okay.
I'm just disappointed. And I was using part of my birthday gift card from Barnes & Noble, and then I was like, oh, it's like you buy something, you want to love it, right? You don't want to go, oh.
Well, it was between this and Flamecraft, and I really think you should have gotten Flamecraft. I think you would have liked that game a lot more, which we still need to play that.
No.
We're going to play it with John. I'll tell him to bring it tomorrow. I think your criticisms are all probably valid. They're things that really don't bother me so much. I think I just accept the game for what it is and just lean into that. But, not every game is for everyone.
Yeah. I just wonder if somehow along the line this one didn't get fully play tested, or there was something.
You think it's underbaked?
I think it's underbaked.
I think there's certain things that could have been balanced more. I do agree with you on that. Even John was saying that action on the night board, because there's a certain element of like the dice worker placement on the village board as well, have these spots give you like kind of special actions you can do. And one of the special actions on the night board is just scorch an entire forest. Boom, up in flames. Like, and that's a little wild.
So here's the thing. Castles of Burgundy is a great game because you can be so purposeful and
fastidious.
Yeah, you can just play exactly. In this one, there's too many Deus Ex Machina kind of stuff going on. And I don't like that. It's like, all of a sudden, a fireball came and destroyed the forest.
There's a certain amount of fluctuation and pivoting that can happen, sure. I just think that...
See, and this is how I felt. Just like this guy, kind of look how puzzled. He is thinking about this game and going, I don't get it.
And I think there's some aspects with like the actions on the village board. Some of those could have been balanced a little bit better. I think the potions and the creatures could have been balanced better, because the creatures are really juicy, have really juicy powers, and the potions have kind of not so interesting powers. Like, even when I really did really well at this game, I found myself not really using the potion powers that much.
Well, that's because you can only use these potion cards in very definite kinds of situations where it would be helpful, and sometimes those opportunities and those times don't even occur.
I found really the best strategy is getting some creatures that let you score those VP points along the way and bank on those, and bank on really focusing on the area control so you can get the matching forest cards that you can then retire your creatures onto.
Well, I think your strategy, like, basically, you found, I think, a good winning strategy.
I think it clicked with me, the way that this game is supposed to operate, and I feel like maybe it didn't click with you. And when John played it, he's just like, well, yeah, I just need to do a bunch of scorching and play a ton of potion cards. Like he was playing them like crazy. So, you know.
I
think maybe there's some different strategies you can do, but maybe only a couple of different ones. I don't think it's a game that I could see getting bored of this game. I think this is the type of game I would still pull out every now and again. If you liked it more, I would say it would definitely be in the rotation for me if it were just up to me. But you can't play it solo, and I don't think I'd particularly... I don't know, there's probably like a solo hack mode on BGG, but I do like that area control thing, that back and forth. I do enjoy area control, and
I'll give it a few more chances, but then I'd be like...
I don't want to force you to play something you don't like, though. And I feel it's like once to try it, twice to make sure, and the third time's like your last chance. You know, because you played it with John, and we really have very positive experiences with John, so I know it's the game.
Right. It just didn't happen for me.
That was Brew. I'm very sad. So we have a quick announcement, actually, because I don't know if we've announced this on the channel yet, but before we go, we are going to be at RageCon, which is happening in Reno on June 30th to July 1st. Mm-hmm. So we will be there all 3 days. So we will have swag. So that's the other announcement. We're going to be having some merch. So if you would like to be the first to get some of that merch, meet us at RageCon. Let us know if you're going to be there down in the comments. But yes, it's going to be our first convention. So we're very excited about it. We're gonna be gaming, mostly gaming. I think it's like a smaller convention. It's like a mid-sized convention. It's not like, you know, like a Gen Con or anything like that. But I'm hoping we'll get a lot of plays in. We'll get to try some new games. We'll, you know, get to play with some new people. You know, it'll be exciting. If you like content like this, don't forget to like,
subscribe,
and hit the notification bell.
Ding dong, mother cluckers.
And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Rich.
And this has been Get Gaming. And don't forget, be gay.
Do crime.
Don't get caught.
And
get gay men. Say hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
We have a cocaine in my dress.
Madame Lasagna.
Madame Lagarta. You may have noticed in some of our recent videos that the birds, my roommate's birds, are quite active in the afternoon. It's 5 o'clock, so hopefully it'll be past their bedtime or whatever.
What's wrong?
I'm worried that it's going to pick up too much noise from outside. What do you think?
I don't know. Does that really show? It's windy. Yeah.
It's fine. I'll just suffer.
You'll cool off.
Get me a mimosa.
Alrighty.
Ha, indeed. Go subscribe, you fools.
Okay. Wow. That is kind of fun.
Is it hot or is there a dragon in here?
Oh my god. That's kind of slipped. Oh my god.
Which is somewhere behind me.
Mm.
Oh, it's on top.
I don't even know if I'm in this, if I'm getting too close.
It's under here. It's right under suburbia. Pull it out quick.
Alright, hold on. Yeah.
Here, hold your dragon mask. Here, just put your dragon mask on. That's fine.
Because it matches the green.
That's right, my verdant. My verdant disease.
Verdant.
Yes.
Friedman Freezer.
So can you refresh my drink before we get into this?
Okay.
On the bar, quickly. Alright, quickly. No, but put it in a glass. Not the flute.
Okay.
We
We're
played.
back.
I don't think so. I think at this point it's just, let's just move on for our lives. It's fine, baby.
We're gonna get it.
I forgive you.
And hit the notification bell. Ding dong, motherfucker. I'm not gonna say that. I am not foul mouth.
Just say ding dong.
Ding dong, mother cluckers.
Just say. Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it again.